Mirabel was only 8 years old when she began to notice something strange in her class. She had always been a quiet, observant child, the kind who noticed little details others ignored. While her classmates played, laughed, and argued over pencils and snacks, Mirabel often sat back, watching silently. It began with Emma, her closest friend. Emma was bubbly, cheerful, and loved to share everything, from her erasers to her biscuits. But one afternoon, after the midterm break, Emma returned to school different. Her laughter had thinned, her eyes looked distant, and her once free smile seemed forced. At first, Mirabel thought Emma was just tired. But days passed, and the change deepened. One Friday, while they were eating lunch, Emma leaned closer and whispered, "Mirabel, do you want to see something? Something special?" Mirabel frowned. "What is it?" Emma glanced around, making sure no teacher was watching, then pulled out a small, shiny trinket from her bag. It was a hairpin, golden, with a small red stone at its tip. "It's beautiful," Mirabel said honestly. Emma nodded, her voice dropping lower. "Debbie gave it to me." Mirabel blinked. "Debbie? The new girl?" Emma's smile deepened, but it was strange, almost secretive. "Yes. She said I must always wear it. That it makes me belong." Mirabel's chest tightened. She didn't know why, but her spirit felt heavy. That night, she told her mother. Her mother listened carefully, her face unreadable. Then she sighed. "Mirabel, not all gifts are gifts. Some carry burdens. Some open doors that should remain closed. Be careful with your friend." Mirabel nodded. The following week, things became worse. Emma grew closer to Debbie, the quiet, dark-eyed girl who always sat at the back of the class. Debbie rarely spoke, but when she did, her words carried weight. Children began to follow her, almost unconsciously. Mirabel noticed Emma laughed more with Debbie now, whispering and giggling in corners. When Mirabel tried to join, Emma gave her a strange look, as though she no longer belonged. One afternoon, Emma held Mirabel's hand and said, "Debbie wants to meet you." "Why?" Mirabel asked. Emma shrugged. "She says you're special. She wants you to join us." "Join you in what?" Emma only smiled. "You'll see." That night, Mirabel dreamt. In her dream, she was back in the classroom, but it was empty. Debbie sat alone at the back, staring at her with Mirabel woke up screaming. Her mother rushed in, held her, and prayed. "Daughter," she said firmly, "this is not just about friendship. This is a battle for your soul. Be wise." The next morning at school, Emma wore the hairpin again. She looked at Mirabel strangely and said, "Why didn't you come yesterday?" She raised the golden hairpin and whispered, "Come and belong." "Come where?" Mirabel asked. Emma's lips curved. "You'll come soon." From that day on, Mirabel knew her life would never be the same. The next week at school, it was Debbie's birthday. Her parents didn't come, but she came with bags of snacks and drinks. The teacher allowed her to share them, and the class sang for her. But unlike other birthdays, something felt different. As Debbie handed out party packs, she looked each child directly in the eyes, too directly. When it was Mirabel's turn, Debbie's hand paused. Her lips curved in the smallest smile. "Happy birthday to me," she whispered, pressing the party pack into Mirabel's palm. Mirabel froze. She felt a strange chill travel up her arm. She quickly withdrew her hand. "Thank you," she murmured, then quietly placed the pack in her bag. The others tore theirs open, laughing and munching. Mirabel didn't touch hers. That evening, she placed the pack on the table at home. Her mother opened it carefully. Inside were sweets, biscuits, juice, and one strange-looking lollipop. Its color was darker than usual, almost too dark. Her mother took a deep breath and said, "Throw everything away." "Why?" Mirabel asked softly. Because sometimes, gifts are not gifts. They are invitations. That night, Mirabel dreamt again. She was back in the classroom. Debbie stood in the middle, holding the same dark lollipop. Children surrounded her, chanting in whispers. Emma stood beside her, clapping softly. When Debbie turned, her eyes glowed faintly red. She stretched the lollipop towards Mirabel and said, "Eat, so you can belong." Mirabel woke up sweating. The following day, during break time, Emma asked, "Did you like Debbie's party pack?" Mirabel answered calmly, "I didn't eat it." Emma frowned. "You never eat anything." "I eat," Mirabel said firmly. "But not everything." Emma rolled her eyes. "You think you're special?" Silence fell between them for the first time. Something was cracking. Days turned into weeks. Mirabel noticed a strange pattern. Each time a classmate celebrated a birthday, within days, something about them changed. A bubbly girl became withdrawn. A brilliant boy started failing. A healthy child suddenly fell ill. But no one spoke about it. Teachers said nothing. Parents acted normal. Life went on. Until one morning, the school assembly was interrupted. A girl from primary 4 had fainted in class. Some said she collapsed while reading. Others whispered she was laughing and suddenly slumped. She was rushed to the hospital. That evening, as Mirabel's family prayed before bed, her father said, "There is a darkness moving through that school. We must cover our child daily." Her mother nodded. And Mirabel must be wise. Very wise. Another birthday came, this time, Emma's. The classroom was decorated with balloons. Mrs. Anthony herself arrived with trays of jollof rice, drinks, and brightly packed goodies. Emma wore a sparkling crown and twirled in joy. Children sang, clapped, and rushed for food. When it was Mirabel's turn, Emma leaned close and whispered, "Today, you must eat. If you're really my friend, you'll eat." Mirabel's heart thudded. She smiled politely, took the food, and carried it home untouched. At home, she narrated everything. Her mother grew still, then said quietly, "Your friend is under an influence. If you had eaten that food today, something would have shifted in your life." That night, Mirabel didn't dream. She battled. In her sleep, she saw herself standing in the middle of a wide dark field. Emma was there, holding a birthday cake with candles. Debbie stood beside her, holding the dark lollipop. Behind them were children with pale faces, all staring at her. Emma's voice rang out, "Eat, Mirabel. You must eat to belong." But before Mirabel could answer, a bright light shone from behind her. She woke up gasping, her body drenched in sweat. By morning, she was weak, but her spirit was strong. Her mother prayed over her, laying hands on her head. "The battle has started. But you will not be consumed." From then on, Emma's friendship grew strained. She no longer laughed as much with Mirabel. Sometimes she whispered with Debbie, glancing at Mirabel from afar. Other times, she simply avoided her. But the pressure didn't stop. One afternoon, during art class, Emma slipped a cupcake onto Mirabel's desk. "Just try it," she said, her tone softer this time. Almost pleading. Mirabel looked at her and replied, "If you love me as your friend, you won't force me." Emma's eyes watered. She picked up the cupcake, stared at it, then threw it into her own mouth and chewed quickly. Mirabel's chest ached. Something in Emma was breaking, but she couldn't reach it. That evening, as she sat under the mango tree at home, Mirabel whispered, "God, please help Emma. She's my friend, but she's not herself anymore." The leaves rustled gently, as though heaven itself had heard. Weeks later, the school buzzed with news. Debbie was leaving. Her father had been transferred again. On her last day, she came with no snacks, no gifts, no goodbye notes. She simply walked out of the classroom with her small bag and never returned. The class moved on. But Emma did not. She grew quieter, moodier, sometimes snapping at people, sometimes sitting alone. The laughter that once filled her eyes was gone. Mirabel tried to reach her. "Emma, what's wrong?" Emma shook her head. "Nothing." But Mirabel knew. Something lingered. One rainy afternoon, after school, Mirabel found Emma standing by the gate, staring into the distance. Her uniform was soaked, but she didn't care. "Emma," Mirabel whispered, touching her arm. Emma turned slowly. For a moment, Mirabel saw it again, that strange flicker in her eyes, as though two forces fought for control. In a trembling voice, Emma said, "I don't sleep well anymore. I see them, in my dreams. Debbie, and others. They call me. They call my name every night." Mirabel's throat tightened. "Emma, you don't have to answer. You're stronger than you think." Emma shook her head violently. "No, you don't understand. I already answered. The first day I ate." Tears spilled down her cheeks. Mirabel hugged her tightly. "Then we will pray. I won't leave you. I promise." From that day, Mirabel carried Emma in prayer. At home, her family joined. They fasted, they prayed, they stood in the gap. Nights were still heavy. Emma would sometimes arrive at school with dark circles under her eyes. Other times, she looked pale and drained. But slowly, very slowly, something began to change. One morning, during assembly, as hymns were sung, Emma suddenly dropped to her knees, weeping. Teachers rushed to her side, but she cried louder, her voice breaking. "I want to be free. I don't want them anymore." The whole school fell silent. That evening, Emma's parents came to Mirabel's house. They prayed together, deeply, with groanings too heavy for words. And for the first time in a long while, Emma slept peacefully. The days after were not easy. Temptations still came, whispers still called, but she stood firmer. Mirabel never left her side. Their friendship, once tested in fire, became stronger than ever. And as they grew older, both girls remembered those years as a lesson, that not every gift is a gift, not every invitation must be answered, and not every friend is truly a friend. But true friendship, the kind that fights for your soul, is rare, precious, and worth keeping. And that was the friendship they chose. Thanks for watching Tales by Omoh. Bye.